So today we are going to discuss about the continuation of table calculations. So yesterday we have discussed about the table calculations. So we have discussed how it works for across, down, across then down, down then across. Likewise for pane also we have discussed. So across will be horizontal right direction, down will be towards down direction. So whatever the previous values will be considered according to that particular line. And pane will be based on the second dimension. So based on the second dimension, what is the segregation? So based on that, it will do the table calculation. So it will do pane down, pane across, and across then down, down then across, only at the pane level. So now we will discuss, so what are the other types of table calculation that are available? So we also have running total, percentage difference, percent of total. So other table calculations are also available. So yesterday we have discussed only about running total. So now let's see how this works for others and what all different ways that we can do. So not only sum. So you can not only do the sum as an aggregation. You can also do average, minimum, maximum. All this running average you can take, running minimum, running maximum that you can take. So now let's see. So let's take the same example, order date, and make it as month and year, and make it as discrete, and take sales. And now let's take running sum of, or let's take order date, and make this as month. So here you can see the 2020 January. So here this column specifies 2020 and this column specifies 2021. And here you can see month-wise information. So now let's see, now let's convert this into quick table calculation as running total. And now let's take sales also, one more measure. Yeah, so this is normal sales and this is running sum of sales. So basically now we are just doing the running sum of sales. So it's doing the computation using table across. So across that we have discussed. So it will be in the horizontal right direction. So according to this, so let's say 2020 January doesn't have any previous value. So it is showing only the 14,518 as running sum of sales along table. And when you go to 2021 January, so it has a previous value in this direction. So the previous value is 14,518. So plus 18,462 will give you 32,980. So likewise in this direction, whatever the previous values are there, so that will get added up. So this way we can do sum, and we can also do average as well. So instead of doing the sum, we click here and edit table calculation. So instead of sum as an aggregation, you can change it to average. So when you do average, so the process is similar. So we are computing based on the table across. So it will be like this only, horizontal right direction. So 14,518 doesn't have any previous value, so it is showing you 14,518. But so it is running average. So earlier we were doing, so for this value, we are adding the previous value and we got some 32,000 value. So, but here now we are doing average. So when we are doing average, so that will be, so it will consider this 2021 sales and 14,518, and it will take the average of these two. So so 18,462 plus 14,518 divided by 2, which is 16,490. So it will actually take the average of the values. So let's say if you want to calculate 2022 January, it will actually take the average of these three values, average of the previous values. So considering the previous values also. So let's do that. So 14,518 plus 18,462 plus 18,830 divided by 3, which gives you 17,270. So this way you can calculate running average. And let's do an edit. And if you want to do minimum also, you can do. So it will just compare those two values and whatever is the minimum value. So if you consider in this two, so 14,518. So process is same across, it will calculate. So 14,518 doesn't have any previous value, so it will show you 14,518. And comparing these two values, so if you are in the here and you have to compare with the previous value. So in these two values, this one is the minimum value, so that is why you can able to see this one. So in these three values, so this is the minimum value, so that is why you are able to see 14,518. So this is the process. So it will check in the horizontal right direction, and whatever are the previous values, it will compare in all the previous line items, and it will check for the minimum value, and it will show you that. So if you see in all these 4 rows or 4 columns, so whatever you see here, so this is the only one which has the minimum value 14,518. So comparing all the records also, you can see 14,518. So now let's do a maximum. Okay, so there is no previous value as we discussed earlier. So it will show you 14,518 itself. And comparing these two values, so 18,462 is the maximum value. And comparing these three, 18,830 is the maximum value. And comparing this 44,259 has the maximum value. So that is how you are able to see the running sum, running average, running min, and running max. So we can change the aggregation basically. So we can change the aggregation. So most of the time we use sum as an aggregation. So now let's discuss about the other table calculations. So we can also add secondary calculations as well. So before doing that, let me show you. Click on this. So difference. So we can find out the difference between the previous value to the current value. So we can also do the table across and table down for the same. So let's do edit. So relative to previous value. So here we can specify with what it has to compare. So earlier in this running sum, we have mentioned the table across and everything. But here we can also mention with what to compare. So we can compare with the previous value or the next value or first and last. So now it is mentioned as previous value. So for all this, there is no previous value. So when we are doing across, so we are doing or we are computing based on the across horizontal direction. So there is no previous value for this column itself. So when we are finding the difference, so when you are comparing with the null value, so it is actually giving you nulls. So there is nothing to compare with. So that is why you are able to see that blank. And when you have something to compare the previous value, so let's say 18,462 minus. So it is basically comparing with the previous value, 14,518, which is 3944. So it is actually finding the difference between the previous value to the current value. So likewise for this as well. So 18,830 minus 18,830 minus 18,462, which is 368. So this way we can find out the difference from the previous value. So now let's do really, yeah, Rakeem. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So when you are comparing with the previous value, it will be null. Correct, correct. Yeah. So here we are just mentioning the relative to part. So earlier when we were doing this running total, it is actually, so by the name you can understand that it will keep on adding the previous values. It is while you are going in a path, so it will take the previous values and it will continue the path. So running total, it's like it will keep on adding the previous values. But in difference, it will not consider all the previous values. So here we can specify what it has to compare with or what it has to consider. So we are mentioning that to compare with previous value. So now let me change it to next value. So now the comparison will happen with the next value in this direction. So 14,518 minus 18,462. 14,000 14,518 minus 18,462 will give me minus 3944. So if you want to find out 2022 January, so it will be compared with the next value. So next value is what? 18,830 minus 44,259. 44,259, which is 25,429. Okay, so there is no next value here. So we don't have 2024 data. So there is nothing to compare with. So that's why it is null. So when we were doing the previous, so when we are comparing with the relative to previous, so there is nothing to compare with the previous value. For 2020, we don't have any 2019 data. So that is why this is null. And now when I change it to relative to next, so now it has nothing to compare with the next value. So 2023 doesn't have any 2024 data to compare the next value. So that's why this is blank. Yeah, so this is about difference. And now let's see first. So first is actually comparing with the first thing. So this is the first one. So if we are, so across we are doing, so across meaning it will start from here and it will continue in the horizontal right direction. So if you are going from here, that means this is the first place. So this column will become your first place. So comparing this value with this value will give you zeros. So every time this value is compared with this value. So 14,518 minus 14,518 will give you 0. And 18,462 minus 14,518 is 3944. And 18,830 minus 14,518. So each and every value is compared with this one. Even 2022 January value will be compared with this one, and 2023 value will be compared with the first one. So now let's see one example. 44,259 minus 14,518, which is 29,741. So this way we can find out the difference of compared with the first one. And now let's change it to last. Okay, so when we are doing across, so it will be in this direction, and comparing, I mean, if we are going in this direction towards right, so this will become first and this will become last. Okay, so now the comparison will happen with the last column. So 14,518 minus 44,259. 14,518 minus 44,259, which is minus 29,741. So like this, every time it will, each and every value will be compared with the last value. This value also will be compared with the last value. So like this, every value will be compared. And when you check for the last column, so these values are compared with these values only. So 44,259 minus 44,259 will give you zeros. So that is about relative to. So relative to will be working for rest of the other table calculation. For running total, it is considering all the previous values. So when you are going in one path, so all the previous values will be collected and added to the current value. So let me ask you a few questions. So Abhijit, can you tell me about across, compute using table across? Okay, Nazrin, can you try telling me about table across? Yeah. Yes, perfect. So it will do the calculation in horizontal right direction. In horizontal right direction. So let's say if I have values like 10, 20, 30, like this. So these are normal values. And when I do table across, so it will keep on adding. So while going in this path, so it will keep on adding the, so 20, what is the previous value for 20? It is 10. So it will keep on adding the previous values. So for 30, these are the previous values. It will keep on adding the previous values here. So this will become 60. Okay. Priyanka, can you tell me about table down? Okay, perfect. So it will do calculation in vertical direction. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So values will be, if you have values in this direction, let's say 10, 20, and 30. So our table calculation will be, down calculation will be 10. So it will keep on adding the previous values. So for 20, it is 20 plus the previous value is 10. So it will become 30. And it will become 60. So Rakib, can you tell me about table across then down? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So if I have values like this, values, I have it in like, let's say 2020, 2021, 2023. sorry, 2022. January, February. So if I have values like this, so these are my normal values: 10, 20, 25, 15, 34, and 12. Okay, so this is the values for normal values. So when I do table across then down, when I use table across then down, so let me take this one. So it will actually go in this direction first. So it will go in across. So it is starting from here, so this value won't change. And it is going in this direction, so it will pick up the previous values. Well, it is going in this direction. So what are the previous values? So for 20, it is 10. So 20 plus 10, it will become 30. And now we are here. As now we are here, it has to add the previous value. So 25 plus 20 plus 10, which is 55. And we have gone in the across direction. So now, so in the formula it is, so it is across then down. So after this, it has to go to down. So after completing the above row, it has to go down. So down to the starting point. So that for 34, the previous values for 34 are this one. The total is 89. So like this, it has to add the previous values. The previous values for 15 is, all these are my previous values. So 104. For this one, these are all my previous values. 116. So like this, it will compare. Okay, Rakib, can you, oh, sorry, Roja, can you tell me about table down then across? Yeah, perfect. So it will go down first. So earlier, if you see, this went in this direction. This went in this direction and it came down. But for table down, it will be in down direction. So it will go in this direction and then it will go up. So now let's take the same example. So as it is starting here, so it will have the same number. So there are no previous values to add. So now we're going to the below. So for this one, the previous value is 10. So it will be 44. So now we have completed these two rows. So now it has to go to this one. So now we are here. So what are the previous values? These are my previous values. So 20 plus 10, 30, 30 plus 34, it is 64. And now I'm here. So the previous values are this and this and this. So that is 79. So the direction is different. So here we are going like this. And if I am here, so my values will be this, which is 104. And if you are here, these are my previous values, which is 116. If you observe, in table across then down and table down then across, the last values will match. Why? Because eventually we are making the total, the sum of this. So 116 is the total. So by keep on adding the previous values to your number, at the end you will be having the total sum. So if you go in this direction, at the end you will have the total. Even if you go in this direction, at the end you will have the total. So this is how we can make the table across then down and table down then across. So now let's see. So we can also add secondary calculation. So when we understand about the single calculation, so on top of this, we can also add secondary calculation. So now let me show you how we can add secondary calculation. So I'm just taking order date. And I'm taking sales, and I'll convert this into running total. And I'll also take the normal sales so that we can easily compare. So if you see here, it is actually doing table across, and you can see, so these are my normal sales. So it is keep on adding the previous values to the current number. So if you are at 4520, so what is the previous number for this? 14,518. So it is keep on adding. So you got 19,038. So like this, it will keep on adding till the end. So at the end, you will be able to see the total sum, which is 23,26,534. Okay, so now that we have this one, so I'm gonna apply one more secondary calculation here. So for that, I will add one more calc. So let me do a duplicate of this one. So here, this is for running total. So where you can see the previous values keep on getting added. And this is normal sales, normal actual sales value. And in sales copy, I will apply secondary calculation. So if I want to apply secondary calculation, first I have to apply normal first calculation, so which is similar to the running sum. So similar to running sum I have applied. So these two columns, these two rows are same. So now I'm going to apply secondary calculation on this one. So to add secondary calculation, so click on edit table calculation, add secondary, and try to find out the difference from previous value. Edit table calculation. Okay, so this I will explain you later. So this has some issue. I'll get the one more example for this. So it is actually when where we can apply one more condition, where we can apply on top of this calculation, we can apply one more condition. So now let's see the other table calculations. So we have discussed about running total and difference. So now let's discuss about percentage difference. So difference meaning it will compare with the previous value. So let's say 4520 minus 14,519 is the value here. So the difference from the previous value. So if you want to find out 56,000 minus 4,000, which will give you 52,000. So like this, every time it will compare with the previous value. So we have discussed that as well. So we can decide with what to be it has to compare. So we can decide that. So it has to compare with previous value or next value. So we can specify that. So when 14,518 minus 4520. So it is every time it will compare with the next value. So like this, we can do that. So if you are in here, somewhere here, so 33,946 is your actual sales value. So 33,000 minus 28,000, which will be 5,000. So this way you can find out subtraction with the current value with the next value. So by using relative to, we can change that. So when you say first, so as we know, table across will go in this horizontal right direction. So according to horizontal right direction, so this will be your first. And if you go into this, so let's say this is across we are doing. So this will be your first value. So this will be your first, and this will be your last. This will be your last, and this will be your first. If you are doing across, if you are doing down, let's say if you are doing down, so this will be your first, and this will be your last. So if you are doing down, so if you are doing computation based on the across, so in across this will be your first and this will be your last, and down the first row will be your first and the second row will be your last. So I mean, whatever the row, let's say you have 10 rows, in that 10th row will be your last. It will be considering like that. So here we have across. So the first value will be considered as first, and at the end, whatever column is there, that will be considered as last. So if I compute using, when I say first, say each and every value will be compared with the first value, meaning for 14,518. So 14,518 compared with 14,518 will give you 0. And 4520 minus 14,518, 9,999. Like that, each and every value will be compared with 14,518. Let's take one example, 82,670. So 82,670 minus 14,518, which is 68,152. That is the value. So every time it will compare with the first value. And when I say last, so what is the last? So last is the last column. So if we are going in the across direction like this, so whatever is in the starting will become your first, and whatever is at the end will become your last. So let's take some random number. So 60,728, 60,728 minus 85,175, which is 24,447. So this way, each and every value is compared with the last value. So we can specify that. So now let's see the percentage difference. It is almost similar to what we have done for the percent. Yeah, Rakib. So that way, yeah, good question. So let's say, let's take this as a table across then down. So you're starting from where? You're starting from here. So this will become your first. So as we are starting from the 2020 January, this will become our first. So we are going in what direction? Table across. So you'll go in this direction and then you go down. So this is your last value. So we are stopping at there. In across, how you are going, you are starting here and you are ending here. So that's why this value became your last value. And in down direction, you are starting here and you are ending here. And next column will start again. So for next column, it is this will be first and this will be last again. Same goes for this. This will be first and this will be last. But in table across then down, you will only have one first and one last. Why? Because you are starting here and you are not starting anywhere else. You are just starting here and you are ending here. So that is why this will become your first and this will become your last. And here also, so in table across, this is table down. So we are starting here, so it is first, and we are ending here, so it is last. And across meaning again it will start in the next row. So this will become first again, and this will become last. For each and every row, it will change. Is it clear? Now, so let me show you in Tableau. So let's do difference. And so we are computing based on across. So across relative to first. So across relative to first, this is first. So for every row, this is first and this is last. For every row, this is first and this is last. So 14,518 minus 14,518 is 0. And 18,000, 18,830, 44,000, every value will be compared with this one. And when you go to second row, these values will be compared with 4520. So that is for, so let me show you for one. So let's take some random number from middle. So let's take for 53,031. So what is the first value, Rakib, for this one? Yeah, perfect. So 53,031 minus 56,934 is your first value. Yeah, so that is what is the value it is showing, 3903. Okay, so that's how it will find out. So now let's do table down. So table down, so we are also doing the first. So as I said, so this is the first value. So as we are starting here, so this will become first and will become last. And for every column, it will change. So this will be first and this will be last, like this. So we are going in this direction. So this is first and this is last. And in the second column, we are starting again. So this is first and this is last. So let's take some random number from the middle. So 57,000. So Nazrin, can you tell me what is the first for this? Okay, Rakib, can you tell me what is the first for this? Yeah, 57,043 minus 18,830, which is 38,213. So that is how you can see the first values on the top. So all these values are compared with these values only. So that's why you're getting zeros. Okay, so now let's do table across, then down. Yeah. Mhm. See, I'll tell you. Wait. So pain is, it's not complicated. See, if you understand the concept of across, down, across, then down, down, then across, pain is simple. So this formula is similar for pain also, but it will restart at next pain. Okay, it will restart at next pain. So it will use the same sales value. So it will restart. So if you are doing pain across, then down, so it will start from here. So if you are doing table across, then down, what happens? It will keep on adding till the end. But for pain, what happens? It will calculate till here itself. And for the next pen, it will start from zero again. I mean, start from the beginning. So it is, the formula is same. Across, down, across, then down, down, then across. The condition is same, just that it is starting at a new position. New pen will start from the beginning. Yeah. Which one? I didn't get that. Hmm. 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 Uh-huh. Yes. Yeah. Not only for this one, for every quarter, this will show zeros. So if I'll show you that pain across then down, this will be zero. Yeah. So table across then down. So according to table across then down, so this is my first value and this is my last value. So when I arrive for do relative to first, so every value will be compared with 14,518 only. So let's take random number 40,937 minus 14,000. So it will be around 25,000. Yeah, 26,000. Okay, so like that it will calculate. So if take any number that will be compared with this one. So 85,000. So 85,000 minus 14,000, it will give you somewhere around 70,000 only. So every number is compared with this first value. And when I do last, so when I say last, so you see this is the last value. So every number here is compared with this number. So comparing this number with this number, it gave me zero. So that's how we can calculate difference from. Okay, so now we are finding out the percentage difference. So percentage difference is, so to find out, so what is the percentage of, let's say, if you take an example of, let's say, salary. If you take an example of salary, let's say in 2020, you have a salary of $100K and it got increased to, in 2021, it got increased to $120K. So now I want to know what is the percentage of hike that you got. So what I will do, I'll do a subtraction 129 minus 100 divided by, so what was my previous one? 100, which is 20 divided by 100. So actually I got 20% of hike. So you had in 2020 you had $100K of salary, and it got increased to 120K. So if you want to know the percentage of hike, what you will do, you will do the subtraction between these two and divide it with the previous salary, whatever you had. So that way you will get the 20% hike. So you will get to know like what is the percentage of hike that you got. So in the same way, so in January 2020, it has 14,518, and February 2020, it has 4520. So to find out the percentage difference, so what I will do, I'll do 14,518 minus 4520 divided by 14,518 is the previous value, which will be 0.68. So I have to multiply it with 100, which will give me 68.87. So it got decreased actually. So 4520 minus 14,518 that I need to do. So it is depreciated. So if you compare it as a salary also, so it has some 14,518 and it got decreased. So what is the depreciation percentage? So if you want to find out that, so it got decreased to minus 68.87. So in January 2020, we got $14,000 sales, and in February 2020, we got only $4,000 sales. And I want to know what is the depreciation percentage. So it is actually 68 point. And from February to March, there is a lot of increase. So it got increased to 56,000. So what is the percentage of increase? So 1,159 percentage. It got increased like anything. And 56,002, it got decreased to 28,000. It was almost decreased of 50% of it. So like this, we can find out the percentage difference as well. So it is actually comparing with the previous value. So here also we can specify to the previous value. So every time it will compare with previous value. And if you don't want to compare with previous, so you can click on next. So it will compare with the next value. So compare with this one to this one. So it is actually the bigger one. So 221%. So it is, so 4520 to 14,500, it is actually increased. So like that you can compare. So each and every value is compared with the next value. So let's do one next value. So let's take somewhere in the middle. So I want to find for May 2020. So what is the next value for May 2020? This one. So 34,000 or 26,320 minus 34,669 divided by 26,320. One second. 26,320 minus 34,669 divided by 34,669 into 100, which is 24.08. So every time in the denominator, whatever you are comparing, that has to be in the denominator. So this way we can see that. So I'm actually doing, so I'm comparing with the next value, right? So I want to find out May 2020 value. So May 2020 minus June 2020. So which is 26,320 minus 34669, where I got 8349 value. So I have to divide it with the next value only. So I'm comparing with this, I have to divide with this only. So even if you see in the hike calculation that I have done, okay, so I'm comparing, so I got a hike of $120K. So I want to know what is the percentage hike. So what I will do, I'll do this division, subtraction between these two, and I'll divide with the what is my previous salary. So I'm comparing with my previous salary, right? So I have to use previous salary in the denominator to get the percentage. So here also it is same. So I'm comparing with the next value. So 26,320. So next value only has to be the denominator. So that way we can find out. So for every calculation, so apart from running total, so running total is happening. So it is picking on the way whatever previous values are there, it is picking and it is showing you the total. But for difference and percentage difference, it is actually you can select related to what with what it has to compare. So we can select that. Yes. So here we can decide, we can tell Tableau that just compare the previous value or just compare with the next value or compare with the first and last. So we can tell Tableau that with what it needs to be compared. Sometimes let's say if we go to salary and in 2022, I got a hike of $140, $140K. So now I want to compare how much is the percentage of got increased according to 2021. So what I'll do 120 minus 40, 120 minus 140, which will be 20, divided by, I'm comparing with the next one. So 140, so 20 divided by 140 is what? 20 divided by 140 into 100. So 14%. So I'm assuming 14% could be my hike. I'm just comparing with my next value. So when I'm comparing with my next value, I'm keeping my next value as my denominator. Yeah. So when I'm comparing with the previous value, I'm putting the previous value in the denominator. So that is about percentage difference. Okay. So we also have percent of total. So when I say percent of total, so I'll just give you a small example. So let's say we have different states. So Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra. So let's say we have only these three states for now. So population 2 crores, 3 crores, 4 crores. And I want to know the percent of population, percent of total. It's basically the contribution from each and every, let's assume. So with this 3 states, I have 2 plus 3 plus 4, which is 9. 9 crores of population is there. And I want to find out the percentage contribution of Karnataka. So if I want to find out that, so it is actually this one divided by total into 100. So 22% of population is coming from Karnataka. And let's take this. Is 7. So if you see here, 33.33% of population is coming from Telangana and 44% of population is coming from Andhra. So like this, we can do the percentage of contribution from each and every state. So if you see the data, so most of the population is coming from Andhra here, according to this data that I have. So what is the percentage contribution? So 44% of people or population is available in Andhra. So in the same way, in Tableau also we can find out. So this all sales value. So starting from January 2022, ending at December 2023, the total value is actually 23,26,534. Yeah, so 23,26,534. So I want to know what is the percentage contribution of each and every month. So if you see 14,518, this gives only 0.62% of the total value. So how it is getting calculated? So it is actually 14,000. So this value 14,518 divided by 23,26,534 into 100. So this way it is calculating the percentage contribution of each and every month. So by just clicking on quick table calculation and clicking on percent of total, so it is doing a whole lot of things. So it is doing all these things. So it is taking the total, the current value 14,518, and it is dividing with the total and multiplying it with 100 and showing it as a percentage. So it is doing all the operations. So here in Excel file also I have written some calculation to get this output. So I have taken total. I am dividing the current value with the previous value, current value with the total value, and multiplying it with 100. But in Tableau, I don't have to do everything. I just need to right click on this, go to quick table calculation and click on percent of total. So it will do all this calculation. So that is about percent of total. Percent of total. So I'll just finish with this one more thing called rank. So with that, we'll stop this table calculations topic for today, and tomorrow we'll continue with this. So let me click on this rank. So rank meaning, so whichever has the highest value. So if you see in the entire data, so November 2023 has the highest sales value. So it will be assigned as 1. Yeah. So in rank, we have couple of items. So it will take some time to explain. So we'll discuss that tomorrow. So it has 4 types of ranks available. So basic understanding is it is actually whichever has the highest value. It's like if you get more score in the, let's say, SSC, or if you get more score, you will get first rank. So according to that, ranks will be assigned. If you get less score, you will get the highest rank, like more value. So we'll discuss this tomorrow. So any questions on today's topic? Yeah. Okay, then. Thank you all for joining. We'll continue tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you.